Hi, I'm Mel Chivuko. I'm an online counsellor, writer, and trainer. I specialise in eating disorders, disordered eating, and body image and weight stigma, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. I'm very passionate about talking about weight stigma, partly because I've had my own experiences as well, and I think it has a massive impact on people. So I think it's really important for people to understand it for themselves, to be able to understand their own experiences, but also for professionals, so counsellors, therapists, and other professionals who are just interested in learning more about this as well. So weight stigma, sometimes also called weight biases, weight discrimination. Personally, I would think of them all sort of within the same kind of umbrella as weight stigma. This can be systemic, by which I mean ingrained in the wider systems in our society, and it can be individual as well. So I'll just go through a few of those things now. So an example of systemic weight stigma might be in medical weight biases. So we've all grown up in the same kind of society that prioritizes thinness, not necessarily across all cultures, but there is there is a high and a lot out there of societies that believe that thinness is more healthy, that it's more attractive, that it's more desirable. So we all live in a diet culture that promotes that as well, where dieting is normalized and encouraged and praised. Medical professionals have grown up in the same world, like they've had the same views. So it's not their fault. We all kind of have a level of bias there, because it's ingrained, isn't it? That's what we've grown up with. So medical professionals sometimes are also really encouraged to base things off weight and BMI. BMI is very outdated. If you're interested in learning more about why, Aubrey Gordon has got some great work around that, and I think there's an episode on her podcast Maintenance Phase, or otherwise she's written blogs about it as well. So that's Aubrey Gordon about BMI. It can be very difficult as a person in a larger body, and I speak from personal experience of this as well, of going to the doctors for something that is not related to your weight, and then always having it related to your weight. I know that other people in larger bodies will probably relate to this. You can, even if it doesn't happen, there's like an anticipatory anxiety, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I'm going to have to gear myself up for the Slimming World pitch again. And it can take a lot of strength and resilience to stand up against a medical professional, because they're in a position of power. Sometimes what this means for people is that they avoid routine appointments. They avoid going to doctors because it's a scary thing to do. Sometimes it means people don't get the health, the care, the surgery that they need, because they're told their BMI is too high, or their recommended dieting or weight loss or weight management, or now weight loss injections instead. And for many people, when they're recommended diets, they may have tried every single diet going already. The success rate of diets isn't great. I know it works for some, but generally speaking, a lot of people regain the weight or even more as well. So and also in the work that I do, it really exacerbates disordered eating. So when people are told this by medical professionals, they feel particularly bad about themselves, probably triggers failure and shame. Might also trigger more restriction of food. So like, I need to do more dieting, I need to stop eating this or that. And like, for somebody who struggle with food or their relationship with food through their life, then that can trigger disordered eating or an eating disorder. There's also weight stigma that is I'll stick with the systemic bit actually, because there's also things like fitting in seats, access issues in the world. When you're in a larger body, you might be going on an aeroplane. The seats are pretty small. Sometimes you need to ask for an extended belt. That can be an embarrassing thing for people. Sometimes other people react really badly to people in larger bodies on planes, and sadly there are often articles going around on social media about this, making it a bit of a clickbait thing. I would hope that that doesn't happen very often, but again, the anxiety that that could happen for somebody is often quite distressing as well. These are all things that people in larger bodies have to live with as they're moving through the world all the time. But I'm aware that weight stigma affects other people as well. It's not just people in larger bodies, though that's systemic, and those systemic and access issues and the discrimination faced by people in much larger bodies will be worse. But weight stigma really just drives diet culture, it drives disordered eating, it drives body image issues. There's many people who've grown up similarly to myself, feeling like I always need to strive to be thinner. I mean, I used to. I don't have that now. It's taken many years, because I don't think it's easy. I think it's completely possible. I wouldn't do the work otherwise, this work, if I didn't believe it was possible. But it does take a lot of unlearning. Because when you learn things as kids, it's kind of like sucked in. The children are just little sponges, aren't they? It's just sucked in so deep of like, oh, this is how I need to look. This is how I need to be. And, we've got TV, media and everything backing that up as well. We've got people in our lives who may also have their own struggles with eating, with dieting, with body image around us who we're learning from. That's not their fault, because they've grown up in the same diet culture and everything that we have as well. But, we take all that in as children, and then that's just our norm. So I grew up just thinking it's the norm for women to be continually trying to lose weight. And that's just how I have to be. And I won't be happy. I won't be able to get a partner or to be loved, really, until I can lose weight. And then that can really dominate your whole life. I think that when I was younger, I also thought, oh, body image issues and stuff like this are silly. You wouldn't go to therapy for that. Like, oh my God, yes, you really should, because it impacts so much of your life. I was distracted when I was at school. I was constantly anxious and worrying about my weight, worrying about food. I was just, I would spend so much, well, there was so much headspace, so much thinking going into that. It can really impact your mental health, your relationships, everything. I think it probably impacted my initial career choices and everything in my life. It was really connected to self-esteem and low self-worth. And it so often is, and this is why it needs deeper exploration. This is also why going on a diet and losing weight won't fix that. It won't help that. Probably because also diets often don't work, but often they just fuel that feeling of failure. They fuel the feeling of shame. People don't really blame the diet. They blame themselves when it goes wrong. They blame themselves for not having enough willpower. But all the time we're living in this world of weight stigma and discrimination that is piling on all this pressure to lose weight. So it's keeping people just in this horrible cycle of like, I desperately need to do this. Oh my God, this. And I understand the desperation and the fear. Like, I really do. I don't judge anyone for engaging in weight loss or dieting, because I know the strength of diet culture and weight stigma. Like, sometimes trying to lose weight is actually trying to escape that weight stigma, which is really, really understandable. But my take on this is also, maybe this also sounds nothing to do with it, but maybe also because I've worked with perpetrators before. I've worked with people who cause harm. Go with this, it's connected. I very much learnt through that work that there is a responsibility to be taken by people who cause harm. Now, I think people do things for reasons, and I have compassion and understanding for anyone and for working with those people. But what I realised through doing this is that we need to have that with a sense of accountability, and that accountability being back on the people causing harm or the cultures causing harm. So we're not going to get rid of weight stigma, and nothing is going to improve any further by people trying to lose weight to please the bullies or the demand or what society says. It's actually just creating more of the issue, because it's driving more disordered eating, driving more binge eating, ultimately just driving more of the problem. When I was a kid at school, another example of this is, like, when people were teasing, minimizing word though, actually bullying, for my weight, I thought if I just lose weight, that will solve the problem. But it actually needs to be the person doing the bullying that changes, and more importantly, because they're in that situation, that was other children, more importantly than, it's about the culture needs to change. And now I don't expect to be able to do that myself. I mean, I'm very passionate about talking on this topic so that I can raise awareness of weight stigma. But I'm just one person doing my little bit as well on this. So it's really important for me that other people challenge these views of weight as well. Because ultimately, we want people to be valuing themselves more, to be loving themselves more, to be treating themselves better. And I don't think I was ever going to treat myself right unless I started kind of trusting myself, respecting myself, and liking myself and accepting myself a little bit more. And that's very hard to do in a diet culture where we're constantly being told that we're not good enough. So it's really about bringing that back to building our self-esteem and our confidence and our autonomy, and like our resilience in a society. It's hard work going against a society that tells you need to be thin, reinforced by weight stigma, as people literally just try and move through the world. But I feel like it's really important that we push back on that, because this is how that we're going to be able to help reduce eating disorders, help reduce disordered eating, help improve people's body image, and ultimately their mental health as well. That's why I'm so passionate about this. I really do believe that therapy can help with this. I'm probably slightly biased in that, but and not just that though. I mean, I believe that I've had a lot of therapy myself, which I found was helpful, but I also learned a lot through reading various books and learning about diet culture, weight stigma, and disordered eating. Basically, learning on all of these topics really helped me as well. So I think those two things together can go very well. I've written various blogs and things on disordered eating, body image, and most recently quite a lot of stuff about weight loss injections, as that's quite current. I also offer training and workshops as well, and I offer online counselling as well. So do get in touch if you're interested in any of those things, or if you have any thoughts, or do drop me a contact through my website. All of that information you can find on melchivico.com. Thanks for listening. Bye.